As you know, my products are mainly the internal products and the inbound products. And with this, I'm working a lot with our internal stakeholders, and 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 those internal stakeholders have their own day-to-day way of handling their work, of course. And the question that I've found myself dealing with today is me as a product manager, as I have ownership on those products, am I do I have ownership also on the accuracy of the database? Meaning, let's take the Uber example because it's so easy. Let's take the Uber example and let's talk about London as an example, or New York as another example. And if you take New York and you say, okay, let's say that above that every 10 blocks, that's an area, and for each area we need at least 2 drivers to keep this area available for users now, for our customers now. And if not, then we need to close it, and we need to close it. And let's say, additionally, that the process of understanding how many drivers we have is a manual one, meaning we we the ops team or the drivers management team, they have the information and they don't have a way to communicate it to input it into the system. The system doesn't know until we on our end, the development team, implement it straight or inject it straight into the database. But the ops team needs to have is handling the market, the the supply side, and mapping the supply side is they're handling it in their own manners. If it's a Google Sheet or just a whiteboard in the operations room, never mind what they use, but they use an off database way to handle it. And we found ourselves in that situation. We found ourselves that we're struggling to understand how to communicate between us, the marketing team that invest efforts in any block in any of those markets in New York. And so how can we communicate and how we can be agile in opening and closing those markets? And also, how are and we've been struggling with how to communicate it, and it's a manual process. And moving forward with the Airbnb, saying that on one hand, the saying that if you can do it manually until you can't, and then develop, or just before that, develop a system for it or a product for it. That's one. And the other is that closing and opening a market is basically not good, and we need to address it in a different way. And until we address it in a different way, there's no reason to invest in developing a product that will be obsolete in the foreseen future. So taking those two into consideration, that's the situation. We're doing it manually. But today, I found myself that I I'm drawing a line in the sand, saying I'm I'm taking ownership of aligning what the ops team know with what our database knows, and aligning both is what I've done today. Aligning those two. But I'm asking myself, is this a product management manager job? And I'm conflicted. On the one hand, if not the product, then who should? And that's a very good question, because it's not that, because it's in the interchange between the demand, the marketing, and the supply. Because it's in the interchange, that's where product management is. So it is a product management issue on one hand. On the other hand, if you're looking at it in a different way, and you can say that the database and accuracy of the database is in the responsibility and the ownership of the system architect, the developers, never mind, but on the development team. And I'm conflicted, and I'm not really sure that investing around 3 hours today to do a very tidy and accurate and slow in intention, slow process was really worth my time. And I think, again, and I've asked myself that today time and again, and I've come to a beginning of a conclusion that says that, again, the effect of aligning this database on the business is huge. And in investments and in income, it will affect them both. That's one thing. And another thing is that the man hour that are wasted because our system and the ops team are not aligned with their worldview and data, the amount of men men hours and women hours that are wasted because of it is big. So and that tells me that that's the conclusion, and that's, as always, there's no yes or no. It depends on the effect, and I think in this case it's so fundamental to how our system, to the basic things that our system do, that it should be done in the product, and it should be done slowly, and um, we should invest my time in it, or I should invest my time in it to make it work.